All right, we are live. Welcome to EMS Office Hours. I'm Jim Hoffman.
I'm Josh Knapp.
And I'm Dave Brenner.
Here we are for the annual Thanksgiving show.
Yeah.
Is this where the turkeys fall off the helicopter?
Yeah, they come down for the helicopter, and we don't realize they can't fly. You know,
Carnage.
I remember that show. It makes me very old.
WKRP in Cincinnati.
That was a great TV show.
It was.
Who said turkeys can't fly?
Those domestic turkeys.
Right, they don't know any better. They're very filled with antibiotics for the breast meats that are always tipping over.
Well, you guys obviously haven't done a transport to Staten Island in a long time.
Oh, we got turkeys out here.
Oh yeah.
Well,
There's
yeah,
turkeys.
but that's a whole different thing for Long Island, Dave.
Yeah. So just wanted nothing crazy today, I guess. Just kind of keep it light. Just wanted to get on, wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and of course, sell my wares.
Of course,
it's actually not selling; it's for free. You can still get a free copy of this baby. Go to freeemsbook.com, and you can get yourself a copy. It's only going on till the end of November, and then I'm not giving it away for free anymore. So. Jump on that before I
start getting away not free.
That's right. So once that's done, either the end of February or if I run out by then, that's going to be into that. So tell your friends if you already claimed yourself a copy. I mailed out a bunch earlier this week and late last week. So if you get yours, tell your friends. So they can get themselves a copy. So today, I something that kind of ties into a little bit of what's going on these days in EMS with the shortages and getting people on the truck and all. Dave, I actually saw something you posted on I think your Facebook page about I guess LaGuardia is actually going to pay for people to go to EMT school. Right,
well,
but they have
it's
to
not LaGuardia.
For AMR.
Yeah, it's AMR and their new master corporation. They're gonna, as students, they're gonna pay them to go to school.
Right.
And in 10 weeks, they're gonna be an EMT, and they got to work for them for a year. But while they're going to school, they're getting paid.
What's new is old and what's old is new again. Isn't that what they used to do? I mean, back in the day.
The volunteer agencies kind of did that, right?
When Josh used to park the dinosaurs for the people who would come.
Yeah, I mean,
I shouldn't do that. I'm the oldest.
I've actually seen some
You're a true dinosaur.
I saw programs that did that for nurses where they would pay for the person to go to nursing school. A couple of paramedics I knew worked for a hospital paid for them to go to nursing school, and then they had to agree to work for the hospital as a nurse for a year.
Still going on.
Yeah, no, that has been at Columbia since I was there. It never stopped.
Right. So people that are sick of EMS and you want to be a nurse, there's programs like that out there that'll pay for you to go to nursing school. And
so what's the theme of this
show? If you're new to EMS, if you're new to EMS, and just stumbled across this podcast on the YouTubes or something, you can go get free. If you live in New York, you can go become an EMT, which kind of leads me a little bit to what I wanted to sort of talk about today. And I don't know, man. You guys tell me your take on this, because this is something over the years that has kind of irritated me a little bit, and I want to say frustrated, not irritated. But when you get partners that are not a full-time EMT or paramedic, and they are less than interested.
You don't count, Dave. You do it.
Yeah, Dave, you don't count because But I mean, like they're a cop, they're a fireman, they're a nurse, let's say, and they have an EMT or paramedic certification, and they're riding it, it makes them extra money, but they're less than interested in the call. So every call to them is a nuisance. They're not big on continuing education stuff. They're not big on self-education when they, trying to improve themselves as far as knowledge of protocol, the knowledge of company policies, even where a company doesn't want you to do certain things. And they're like, well, no, I'm going to do what I want anyway because I'm just part-time or I'm just per diem. I don't care if they fire me type attitude. And I've always felt that puts the full-time person that's sort of vested in the agency they're working for in a bad position. I mean, I've had people where, just thinking back the New York City days, who were cops and whatnot, and you're supposed to be 89, sitting on your corner, and they would be driving way out of your area because they had to go run an errand someplace, putting you in a bad position as a full-timer who's vested with the agency you're in, and you don't want to get in trouble, and God forbid you get caught. Now you're put in a position of having to either throw them under the bus because they insist on going somewhere, or taking the hit with them because you were out of your response area. And I find that that is something in various places that I've worked for, not just New York City, where you get people who sort of have that mentality. They'll bend the rules, they go outside the rules because it's not their full-time gig. If they get fired, they're not really worried about it because they've got a full-time job as a police officer, fireman, nurse, whatever it is.
You want to reduce this show or title it to "The Rules Don't Apply to Me," right? So we're really talking about that mindset that comes on the bus and sits next to you, or that you have to work with, and the rules apply, as we all know, except for very special circumstances. If there's something that happens on the bus, both crew members are responsible for it.
Right.
I just need to say this. It's the summary of exactly how I feel about what you said. Throw them under the bus. Just throw them under the bus. It's not why I'm there. It's not why they should be there. It's not good for the patient. It's not good for the system. It's not good for the agency. If it's only good for them, throw them under the bus. They don't deserve to work with you. They don't deserve to have you as a partner. They don't deserve to be in this field. And they don't deserve the money that they're earning. Even though it's not enough, they don't deserve it. And if they don't think it's enough to put in a good effort, don't do it. Don't, whatever it is you were doing and supplementing, you're supplementing with EMS, go supplement it with whatever it was you were doing. Really, don't do it. And for those of you who I work with who are doing that, don't do it.
Yeah, but
right,
Dave,
I'm looking for the bus. Every time you're with me and you're doing that, I am looking for the bus.
But, you still will get those individuals, and just throwing them under the bus doesn't always help. What if your supervisor doesn't really care? What if the organization doesn't really care? What if they because the guy is a cop or or a lawyer or somebody that the agency heads,
I know who you're talking about, but go ahead.
The agency heads there's an aspect of, well, you're the, tell them they're supposed to do the right thing. That's horseshit, as we all know.
Well, if the agency is going to protect them and condone it, then shame on the agency, but not shame on me. It's got. Yeah, I can't not report them because the agency may not go forward.
I've been places like that too, where people that are in those positions, sometimes the management will sort of look the other way for those people because of
because it's their son, it's their daughter, it's their nephew, it's their friend's
stuff like
friend.
that.
It's that exists everywhere. However. A lawyer working on a bus, somebody says, I got it. That's funny. Ambulance chasing it to an entire new level. That's funny. However, it's I got to tell you, I know so many attorneys that work in EMS.
I've known
so many. It's crazy. I don't know any dentists working EMS. But attorneys, you betcha.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're not always, either criminal or
no.
I've worked with patent attorneys. I mean, I've worked with bankers. I mean,
And
all
what do you
sorts of
find,
people.
Josh, with those people? Do you find that they are interested in following the rules and being a good provider, not poo-pooing jobs or things like hanging around the ER for a long time in between, when they get to the ER with the patient, they stay there a little bit longer, look for reasons to go out of service. I mean, I've had all that type of stuff happen.
I've worked
not
with
just
other
in one area. It's been different areas that I've worked in. I've seemed to have that same situation.
I find it's not necessarily, the classification of the individual, but more to the individual. And keep in mind, this other aspect, we're transitioning. I mean, it's been 10 or 15 years now that we're transitioning from really the Wild West of EMS, when we used to go, we had no GPS in the vehicle. We only had radio contact. We could be out of our 89, and then it was a cat and mouse, situation.
That was
with
called
the boss.
EMSBWA. EMS by
BWA.
wandering around. Yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yes, and there was danger to that too, because every now and then, they would the overall, they'd pick you up in a different area, or a different radio frequency, and said, "Oh, you're closer. Respond to this job."
Or you weren't where you're supposed to be, and a call dropped a block away from where you said you were, and
oh yes,
you had to start booking across town, to get there. Listen, I worked in that environment. It was fun to be that way, to jump on calls, to float around and try to pick up a good job you might hear on the radio and stuff like that. But but at the same time, I was actively trying to work. Versus
you had a good trauma that was outside of your area, and all you're getting is 6 calls.
I'm 30 seconds away.
Yes, I'm closer.
I'm 30 seconds out.
I'm right there. I'm right there.
Hey guys,
and then drive,
I just got a personal text from somebody who must be listening, who tells me that they work with a dentist in EMS.
All right.
Who also was an instructor, but a responder as well on Long Island. Wow.
Yeah, I work with chiropractors
I've worked with.
But wait, so where I was going, instead of the selection of people that we've worked with, was the attitudes of the time and the transition out. And when you were working that full time, it became something more of adapt or die. You had to fall in and start sticking to your 89 because GPS was there. You had to follow all the commands. But you'd have these people who were part-time, who were coming onto the bus with the mindset of how they used to do it. Let's go to, Giovanni's. It's a great deli. Yeah, it's 10 miles out of our 89, but we'll pick up some jobs along the way. And I'm like, no.
Or try to get to a hospital, because by that hospital is a good place to eat. You're willing to go outside. Oh my God, I hope this patient wants to go to this hospital because I know right over there we can get something to eat when we're done.
At least we don't go lights and sirens to donuts.
Right.
Huh.
But so we're in an interesting, the point I wanted to make is we're in an interesting time. We're really transitioning out of this sort of lawless state, if you want to say, where, it was, we had a sense of duty, we had a sense of purpose, to now, be a cog in the machine, be where you're supposed to be. What do you not like about that, Dave?
I think we need to be where we're supposed to be. You don't have a system if you're not where you're supposed to be. The guys pushing the battleships around, they think we're there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever have fun in the Wild West?
It's not that I did it.
Busted.
It's
Your
not
bus?
that well. You have to remember, my background's not the same as yours. I didn't.
I know
respond in
you had the
places you-
horses. You had to feed them.
Not that.
you
Yeah,
know.
we had to feed them, and we had to catch them first and break them. But but I only did that on my my internship, my rotations that I worked in a place where we were supposed to be where we were supposed to be. I remember. I mean, I was just the intern sitting there, and we're in the diner, and the radio's going off, and the guy says, "We're not leaving. We need, I haven't gotten my fries yet." And I want to say this too. I want to say this too, Jim, because it's true. This part I'm saying is true. Just because you're full-time doesn't mean you follow the rules. There are full-timers
the opposite is true.
Stuff you're talking about.
Yeah, the opposite is true too, right? The people that are part-time also, you can't. I don't want to throw a blanket on everyone that it works into the job full-time and works part-time or per diem as EMS, that they come in not following the rules. I'm talking about just experience that I've had and how to handle those situations that you get put in when you work with these type of people. The same thing for full-timers. You're with a full-timer doesn't follow the rule. Like you said, are you throwing their full-timer under the bus? Are you, is that just the policy you're going to have? Is that individual policy for yourself, you think, Dave? That
put a sign on the bus, put a sign on your hat that says, "I will throw you under the bus." Let them know as they come on that, listen, we're going to do what we're supposed to do. If you have other plans, you need to make new plans.
Yeah, I mean, I've had situations where I didn't think that was going to be the case, and then we would do a call and something would happen, and then I'd have to say, "Listen, dude, this cannot be going on," And
good.
If it goes on again, I'm going to be making phone calls, and we get caught. I'm just telling you right now, it's going to be on you, because I am going to, say something to somebody if we get caught.
It takes a while to get to this.
I'm not going to get put on, administrative leave or anything like that. I'm not going to get a write-up in my file because you wanted to get a special slice of pizza that, was.
Oh, wait a minute. If it's pizza, everything else changes.
You said everybody has their kryptonite.
Yeah, but I didn't want to go to wall hops,
Yeah, this is sort of reminiscent of shows that we've done in the past in terms of bad behavior. Like, what do you do when your partner, is just not working like he should or she?
TTUTB, throw them under the bus.
That's
don't
a tricky situation.
Don't we get into the us versus them type thing then, like the management versus the.
They're doing it to you. You just explained it. They're doing it to you. They're sacrificing your career. They are throwing you under the bus by doing what they do. Why would you feel bad?
I understand
about doing the right thing.
I don't think it's
them under the bus.
I think it's getting maybe a reputation that you're not about your partner. You're about the
patient.
Like Josh said.
Wait a minute. Say it. Patient.
So Mike gave us a little text. The admin will throw everybody under the bus, and there's a little bit of truth to that, right?
The attorneys will.
And one of the first laws that I learned, when I was the new EMT on the bus, was what happens on the bus stays on the bus.
Yeah,
there is an aspect of you throw or you report your partner. It can hurt you within the group that you're in.
I wouldn't be a member of a group like that. I don't have
That's
a
the
membership
cool group,
card.
Dave.
What?
That's the cool group.
I've never been cool. Never. I didn't go into EMS to be cool. I didn't study math to be cool. Nobody.
No, you can't study math to be cool. Stop it now.
But no. But I gotta say, it takes a while to get to the point of comfort in yourself, the comfort in your own body to say, no, I can't do what you're doing. When you're 22 years old and you're the new guy on the bus or the new woman on the bus, and they're saying this is the way we do things around here, it's tough to say no to that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for recognizing that.
Do we train people to have resistance to it? I actually wrote a course where we train people to have resistance to the pressure of a partner who wants to do the wrong thing.
Wait a second. Say that last part again. You've integrated. You run a separate course on that, or you integrated into your program
within the NAEMT course, the National Association of EMT course, PTAP, Psychological Trauma in EMS Patients, which I am one of the 6 authors of. There is a component that's where we put them into the position of saying to their colleagues, you can't do what you're doing. We're not going to tolerate what you're doing. This is the way to do it right. And no, we don't treat patients like crap. I don't care how often you've had them. I don't care what they're doing. We don't do that. And they get trained to say it. The first time they say it shouldn't be when they're put on the spot. They should have repertoire, just like the first time you put on a traction splint shouldn't be on a patient who needs it. So they need to be trained to say, seriously, we know it's a problem. If we don't address it in the training, if they don't address it in the training, they're not going to be ready for it. You have to address it in the training. You have to be able to give them repertoire.
I've actually seen a lot of that in a lot of the EMS Facebook groups and all, where you get the new people coming in and expressing this frustration that either they're brand new on the ambulance as an employee, or they're a student doing their ride-alongs and they're experiencing this, and they have no idea how to handle these experienced providers, the people that have been with the company for a while, and they're not sure what to do. Do they throw them under the bus? They want, like you said, they want to fit in, right? They're brand new. They're looking to fit in, and a lot of ways is just to go ahead and do what everybody else is doing until, like you said, Dave, until you get that comfort level where they can say, all right, you know what? I've got the experience now. I have the know-how, and I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. I'm going to put the best interests of the patient, myself, the agency, the response times, everything that falls in, under that first.
On the most common level, how often do we hear from students? And I hear it all the time, by the way. My preceptor is walking every diff breather to the ambulance. He says to me, or she says to me, I don't use stair chairs.
Right.
If they made a mistake and they were upstairs, they got to get themselves downstairs. I see it all the time. I have to tell you, because I'm in a system where we have providers who go to the scene, not me usually, and then the bus shows up, and I'm on the bus, and I'm going to a diff breather or a chest pain or an altered mental status, and they're saying to me, we're walking the patient out to the bus. I said, you could stop right there. I'm taking the stretcher off the bus, and I'm coming to meet you. And if you don't stop, I'll meet you in the middle of the lawn. But we're done. We're done.
Yeah, but that's sort of a different
angle
then, right?
No,
I mean,
not.
You don't
It's
think
wrong.
there's a difference between mistreating a patient and going out of your 89.
There's different levels. Yeah, there's different levels between.
I think it's
It's
disregard for
not all
rules.
black and white, is it?
Well,
I think it's a disregard for rules.
Yeah.
I think you're disrespecting everybody in your district when you leave your district.
So, Dave, when you're on the highway, do you drive 55 everywhere you're going?
Yeah,
or do you move with
listen,
traffic?
Listen, when I'm in the ambulance,
there's a certain.
I'm pretty damn close to what the posted speed limit is. Now, when you're on the ambulance, you're allowed to exceed it
in an emergency, not when you're riding around for coffee.
Absolutely. What I do in my private life is certainly less perfect than what I do when I'm on the ambulance, because on the ambulance I have responsibility to others. I don't have a sworn oath to myself, but when I go on the ambulance, I'm saying I'm willing to do these rules.
Right.
Have I ever sped? Oh yes. Listen, I have drivers. I have been with drivers who bring me back from the hospital at 80 miles an hour.
Yes.
And I go crazy with that.
Yes. Well, that was a big thing on Long Island, and a lot of volunteers.
Oh boy,
I mean,
let's
I
throw Long
remember
Island under the bus. That never happened in the city.
Yeah, well,
Where
yeah.
the speed limit
Well,
now is 25.
Yeah, and yeah, with the speed limit is 25. Yeah, it's
It
a
is?
suggestion. It's
not a
nice to
Stop
have.
signs and speed limits are just a suggestion. That's not really the law.
No, but one of the most horrific crashes that I remember, happened with a volley EMT driving a very seasoned medic and a patient, and the patient wasn't critical, and the guy was speeding. He ran a light. He got
Was this
T-boned,
Brooklyn?
killed. No, it was all the way out in like
Okay.
Haphank or someplace.
Because it happened in Brooklyn too. No need to throw.
Yeah,
just
and then it happened in Brooklyn, right? Well, no,
broken
that
arm,
was they
broken
weren't.
arm patient. Lights and sirens through the light.
Yeah, that was the one where they just laid on their side, T-boned.
Yeah,
Driver pass. Everybody was
the family
messed up in that one.
Yeah, paid.
But
Yeah, well,
so,
you guys
so
said,
breaking. Wait a second. So breaking the
there's a
rules
level,
has
like you said,
consequences.
Josh, there's a level,
Sure.
like you said, right? The patient care, people that are bending rules for patient care versus bending rules for operational type stuff that are just agency specific versus, and then there's the system rules that you're breaking as well. And I think that most people are going to be extremely intolerant of the patient care rules being broken,
Right.
but they're going to be a little more accepting of the operational rules, being bent, and then I think even more accepting of system-wide rules being bent, because I think the less that it's affecting them personally, they're willing to sort of look the other way until they get caught.
And bringing this full circle back to where we started, we were talking about what do you do when your partner is in that mindset, and it's in some cases you could bring it down and distill it down to say it's black and white. Either they're following the rules or they're not following the rules. And then there's considerations, that theoretically you shouldn't be taking into consideration, but can color the facts, so to speak, surrounding the situation, surrounding what rules are broken. Is this a guy who's been on the bus for 20 years, is now working in another job, comes on, once a month to fulfill his per diem requirements, and goes out and says, listen, I want to stop by, Giovanni's and get their coffee before I start my tour. It's 3 blocks out of our 89. Let's just do it. Versus, I don't use a stair chair, and this is a 5-flight carry, and the guy can walk.
Or versus, like Dave said, that you're sitting in a diner and waiting for your food, and you get hit with a call, and you still sit there waiting for the food. You don't start making way to the ambulance.
And a lot of that, Jim, has been taken care of by technology, hasn't it? If you don't hit your 63 within, I think, 20 seconds of getting it or something like that, they not only radio you, but it goes down in the call log, and then it can become an issue.
I worked at a place where they see you could say you're responding, but if they don't see the vehicle actually moving, they don't count it as
that's what they're doing now.
You know what I mean?
I mean, with GPS and the new computer systems they put in, it's basically you hit the 63, and if you're not in drive within a couple of seconds,
and 63 for those listening that are outside of the New York area, means you're going to the responding to the call. Damn technology. Well, the other thing, just to kind of round it out, guys, for today, and something that I wanted to kind of jump off of that is when it comes to throwing the people under the bus, because I wouldn't say I haven't thrown people under the bus, but I've made management aware of issues with people that were doing that, whether it's patient care or I would say gross bending of the rules, because I bent the rules, like in mofo when I was back in the day, but when management looks the other way because of staffing problems, because of the fact they don't have enough people to come. Like you get the one guy that is a per diem, but he's coming in all the time because he's filling slots. He comes in last minute. He comes in on holidays. He covers all these shifts, and now they're being made aware that he's not where he's supposed to be. He's walking patients to ambulances, stuff like that. Management, I've seen look the other way and turn a blind eye to it because of the fact of what that person is bringing to the agency as far as filling those slots, right?
Right. But there's also the other aspect that we were not really paying attention to is that our management, our structure has changed. I mean, I'm sure when all of us started on the ambulance, a supervisor had 2 or 3 buses that 2 or 3 crews or 4 or 5 crews or something like that they had to pay attention to. And now it's expanded because the ranks have expanded. So a supervisor could have 10 crews to listen to, and now their workload has tripled, but they're not getting any extra support in dealing with that workload. So infractions, could be a nuisance or a necessary nuisance that they don't always pay attention to. So, I mean, there's a structural component to this as well.
It's not just a quick fix on what we're talking about, because there are different elements to it. I can't remember I saw somebody wrote something on a Facebook post, actually commented on one of the podcasts that we did a while back, and just mentioned a lot of what we talked about, a lot about the pay and education and stuff that we've been talking about on the show for quite a long time. And in the end of it, they pretty much said this is something that's going on in EMS for decades, and nothing has changed with regards to a lot of what we talk about. And he's like, it becomes to a point where you get provider exhaustion from trying to fix the issues that we have,
right?
And then that goes back a little bit what I started talking about today, where you turn the blind eye because you're like, what do I care what we're doing, where we are? I'm overworked, I'm underpaid, I'm all this stuff that goes along with it, and then you end up just sort of turning a blind eye to it yourself, and then you can end up, like I said, getting thrown under the bus yourself or getting dragged under with the guy who's not doing the right thing. So I think it's a little bit of a balancing act with it. Dave has the straightforward, approach of you got to do the right thing, for yourself and the patient and the agency. And he's right in a lot of the ways that it is a system and you have to be able to work within the system, and my take on it is that, listen, if you're coming into someplace to work and you're not willing to do what the agency rules are, the agency guidelines are, what the patient care guidelines are, then don't come and do it, because you are putting everybody at the agency at risk. I mean, nowadays something happens and it ends up on the news, right?
Don't do it. Avoid the temptation. Try not to, embed yourself in that environment if you can. It's everybody's going back behind the school to smoke cigarettes. All the cool kids are doing it,
right? Well, not the math kids.
This is right.
No, not the math kids.
Let's some of us were science majors, all right. But there is an aspect and a true aspect that associate with the people who play by the rules, because that in a rule-based system where you're counting on those rules for your safety, it becomes imperative that you follow those rules.
Yeah,
because,
sure.
They're developed.
All right, okay, we'll end it there. I don't want to go on too much. It is a Thanksgiving show, so we have to keep it a little shorter. So, of course, don't forget, one more push. Go get the book.
So remember,
Free.
get your vaccinations.
Free EMS book.
Enjoy your family. Make sure the turkey is cooked thoroughly. Let's keep those EMS calls down.
Yeah. If you are working EMS, guys, please stay safe out there. You know, hopefully where you're working, they do some sort of thing. I mean, you got I work places a lot of times Thanksgiving, they put something together.
Yeah, if there's a potluck at your house, at your station house or your organization, do it. Do it. It's a great thing to do. You know, there are a lot of places are closed. You can't pick up food in your normal areas. So, you know, do a Thanksgiving, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun at a number of them I've been to.
All right. Anything guys you want to end off with before we wrap it up? Dave?
I wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe.
All right.
I want to remind everybody who wants a wrench, get your orders in now. Just get them. If you're looking for a Christmas present for a friend or
they make a great ornament too.
Yeah, they make great ornaments, especially in the house. But they're great. They're great. You know what they're really good at? Secret Santa. If you're doing a Secret Santa, they're great for that. They're not that expensive. But get your orders in now because the mail sucks.
Very slow these days. All right. That's it, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video so it stays up in the feed a little bit longer. I really appreciate it if you do that. If you're watching it on YouTube, hit the like, subscribe button someplace on the page here so that you get notified when a new episode is coming on. And as always, I am Jim Hoffman.
Josh Knapp.
And I'm Dave Brenner.
Stay safe.